The following has been translated from English to German back to English. Translation is likely not 100% accurate, but I tried my best to make it make sense. German speakers, feel free to comment any discrepancies as my intention is to report accurate information. The following program is from a German TV show called Zervakis and Optenhövel, broadcasted in November of 2022. I've translated this program from German to English to the best of my ability and will be narrating it. Nick Carter denies ever sexually assaulting women. It was quick, and he did not use protection. He made me do something I didn't want to do, and he put his penis in my mouth. He had an expectation, and that was that he was going to get off, and I wasn't going to be allowed to be left alone until he got off. Dr. Ariana Brandolini often looks after victims of abuse and knows how difficult it is for them to go public, especially when they are celebrities and many fans don't want to hear such allegations. When a victim comes forward and goes public, it triggers something inside of us. It threatens our imagination that the world is a safe place. I am safe in the world. So when someone actually confronts us with the fact that that's not always the case, we want it to be the case. So it's easier actually to say that's not true because it actually makes us feel safer. In late 2017, right after the allegations against Harvey Weinstein led to the Me Too movement in the United States, a woman named Melissa Schumann came out with a blog post and alleged that Nick Carter had raped her when she was a virgin. After the Harvey Weinstein stories, there was an avalanche of allegations against men in the industry, allegations of rape and sexual abuse. In defense, her allegations kind of were off, but it was very strange that she made these allegations and Nick Carter put out a statement contesting that it was consensual, and then they very much just swept it under the rug. My name is Melissa Schumann. I was part of a girl band, Dream, in the early 2000s. The first time I was contacted by Nick was through my label saying that Nick wanted to set up a session. It was really weird, but I obviously knew at the time, like, Nick was reaching out because he was interested in me. But I wasn't interested, and I was dating somebody. We don't know if all of this actually happened, but Melissa Schumann remembers the following. The next time I saw him was when I was cast in the same made-to-TV movie, The Hollow. At that point, my boyfriend and I had broken up. This was during, I think, a lunch. He had texted me, "Hey, if you want to hang out on our off day, you can come over to my apartment in Santa Monica and play video games." I saw it as harmless. I thought, okay. I brought my roommate and we ended up going over there at night. My name is Ashley Repp. I am 33 years old and I am from Baltimore, Maryland. In my teenage years, I was a massive Backstreet Boys fan. She claims to have met Nick Carter's younger sister through a fan group in 2003 and started working for her shortly after. I just maintained her website for her and blogged a lot, and that led up to her calling and asking me if I wanted to come down to Morrison, Florida.
Und fragte, ob ich sie und die Carter-Familie in Marathon, Florida, besuchen wolle.
Then she picked me up at the airport and we traveled back to Marathon, where they lived in a prominent part of town.
Großen Areal lebten.
I wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 13 years old. There were many years of uncertainty because we didn't know as much about the disease than as we do now. A lot of feeling overwhelmed and not sure what was going on, kind of thing.
Shannon ist 17
Shannon was
Jahre alt.
17
Sie
years old when she
studiert
got a
und
job in
arbeitet
the
in einem
promotion team of
Supermarkt.
Aaron Carter,
Ihr
Nick
jüngerer
Carter's
Bruder,
younger
Nick
brother,
Carter, war
and
dabei
became
und
friends with the
sicherte
then
sich die Lage
13
des
year old.
17-Jährigen an.
Nick Carter, the 17-year-old, had a
Zu dieser
Backstreet Boys
Zeitpunkt war
concert and were also
Alkohol
guests of their hometown as part of their world
Gemeinsam
tour
suchte
at
sie
this
den
point in time.
Fußballclub-Platz.
After the
Sie
concert, Nick is
verließen
said to have
zusammen
shown
ein
her
Konzert
the
der
tour
Backstreet
bus.
Boys ein. Die sind zu diesem Zeitpunkt im Rahmen ihrer Welttournee auch in Shannons Heimatstadt zu Gast. Nach dem Konzert soll Nick ihr den Tourbus gezeigt haben.
He asked me if I would like something to drink. He gave me cranberry juice, and I remember saying something about how it tasted weird, and it made me feel sick and just kind of fuzzy.
Die 17-Jährige hatte
According
ihren
to her
Hausarrest
statement, the
bekommen.
17-year-old had
Daraufhin
no
begleitete
experience
sie
with
den
alcohol
Mitarbeiter
or
Nick,
drugs.
weil der
At the
Polizist
police station,
zugesprochen
she
worden
states that
war,
Nick
dass er
Carter
sich
started
im Tourbus
harassing her on the
vorgenommen habe,
bus.
sie zu bedrängen.
He pulled down his pants and, put his penis in my mouth. I was not understanding what was going on. He got angry and told me to stop crying. I remember he then started pulling down my pants and my panties. I remember him laying on top of me and just feeling like almost pinned down. It was painful. I didn't know what was going on. And I said, ow, and he kept telling me to shh, and I didn't understand what was going on.
Sodass ich mich wie festgenagelt fühlte. Dann habe ich plötzlich einen schmerzhaften und stechenden Schmerz gespürt und sagte, aua. Ich hatte keine Ahnung, was das war. Nick hat immer wieder Sch zu mir gesagt und dass alles okay ist. Ich verstand nicht, was mit mir geschieht.
In den USA
In
werden
the
mehrere
USA,
Zeugen
only about
aussagen, die
12%
dieses
of
Video
all
auf der
sexual assaults
Videoaufnahme
are
zeigt
reported by
und
victims,
viele
and only a
halten es für
fraction
heimlich.
come to court.
Nicht selten
Not
aber wird der
infrequently, due to the
Unglückliche
applicable
ausvisiert.
statute of
Nur
limitations,
schlecht
there are often
dokumentierte
no
Situationen
charges
im
in the
Alltag
first place.
zeigen auch diese Berichte.
These
Die
reports from the three young
Trauerfeinden
women who
entsprechend
spoke
war
to
es
us
damals
also
nicht.
show that
Dennoch
even
bleibt die
reported,
Beweisfindung
finding the
ständig
truth remains
schwierig.
difficult, if not impossible. We arrived at his apartment. He and his friend had gotten some alcohol. We were underage. I picked the clear stuff, and I believe he mixed it with cranberry juice. And my friend Rachel said, "Oh, it's like a Cosmo. Oh, she'll like it." And then he said, "Hey, want to come back to my room and listen to my new music?" And in that bedroom, he then plays his music and then turned the lights down. And he ends up kissing me. And so he's trying to unbutton my pants, and I go, I don't want to go any further. I made it very clear. I'm okay with just kissing you, but I don't want to go any further. He pulled my pants off, and I remember feeling he was performing oral sex on me. So he had undressed himself, takes off his pants, and demands I perform oral sex on him. And I told him no. And I'm telling him I don't want to have sex. I'm saving myself till I get married. I don't want to have sex. I wasn't going to have sex with him, and so he puts me on the bed, and he was quite large, like as a person, very heavy. He was a larger person, and he got on top of me. I remember him basically inserting something. I never saw it. I felt it, and I asked him, "What is that?" And he goes, "It's all me, baby."
Dann erinnere ich mich, wie er plötzlich etwas in mich einführte. Ich sah nicht, was es war, ich spürte es nur. Ich fragte ihn, Nick, was ist das? Und er hat nur geantwortet, das bin alles ich, Baby.
Nick Carter hat den Vorwürfen von
Nick
Melissa
Carter
Schumann
has
ebenfalls
contradicted
beigewohnt.
Melissa Schumann's
Allerdings hat er
allegations
sich um
several times and
unverhältnismäßig
claims that the
gezeigt.
sex was
Doch nun
consensual.
steht
Here, too,
Aussage gegen
testimony
Aussage.
stands against testimony.
Deshalb ist es nicht
So
nur
it
für
is
uns,
not only
sondern auch
difficult
für
for us,
Ermittler
but
schwer zu
also for the
beurteilen, was
investigators
sich
to
wirklich
assess
abgespielt
what
hat.
really played out because there
Zeugen
are
und
few
Sehelikte.
witnesses. Ashley
Shannon
also
erschlägt
claims to have
Hauptbefehlenden
been
Carter auf
to
einer
a party in
dienstgültigen
Florida
Feier
with
gewesen zu
Nick
sein
Carter,
und
and
verweigerte sofort die
Nick immediately
Erlaubnis
started serving
auszusehen.
drinks.
Auch sie
She
erzählt
also
uns,
tells
dass
us
sie zu
that
dem
at the
Zeitpunkt
time she allegedly had
keine
no
Gefahr für
experience with
andere gedacht zu
alcohol.
haben.
Nevertheless, the 15-year-old
Die
starts
15-Jährige
with the
wird ihre
roughly
Wut
10
zum persönlichen
people group
Großverbot
to
zu feiern.
celebrate. And I was like extremely drunk, and we were kissing, and suddenly he stopped and asked me when it was my birthday. I told him I was born in December 1987, and he said, 1984? Don't tell anyone about this. Don't tell anyone about this. So we went into the cabin and had sex, and that was my first time.
Wir sind daraufhin in die Schlafkabine gegangen und hatten Sex. Das war mein erstes Mal.
Ob sich die Ereignisse wirklich
Whether
so
the events really
zugetragen
happened
haben,
cannot be
lässt sich nicht
proven, but he
überprüfen.
suggests
Aber
remembering it. But in
immerhin gibt
Ashley's
es
case,
Zuhälter.
our research
Doch ihre
resulted in a slightly
Unfallerklärung
different
ermöglicht
picture of
Menschen
this
ein
one
interessantes
situation.
Bild von dieser
According to the police
Situation.
report,
Dort, wo
15-year-old
das
Ashley
Gericht
spent almost 2
Verdächtigen
months in the house of
15-Jährigen
Carters.
jedenfalls
During this
6
time,
Jahre
she
nach
allegedly
dem
had
Haus der
random sex
Carters.
with Nick several
Diese
times,
Zeit hätte
although these
ermöglichen,
people said
Zeit
that
für
they
ähnliche
knew that
Sex
she
mit
was
Nick,
underage.
obwohl dieser laut ihrer Aussage gewusst haben soll, dass sie noch minderjährig sei.
So I filed a police report. It was brief. I was trying to say anything I could to make it go away. Yes, this happened. Yes, I lied about my age. Was the truth. I did, but he told me to.
Das geschah auf Nick Carters Anweisung hin. Er forderte mich dazu auf.
Als wir Monate nach dem
However,
Interview
when we
mit
receive
Melissa
the police
Clifford
report
der
months
Anzeige
after the
erhalten,
interview, a
zeigte
different
sich ihr
picture emerges.
Vergangenheitsbild.
Ashley says that Nick Carter did
Unter
not know
anderem
that she was
erklärte er
underage
uns,
and
dass
that
Nick
after
Carter
repeated
nicht wusste,
inquiries, she
dass sie
confirmed to
minderjährig
him
war
that she
und
was
dass er
already
ihr
of
auf
legal
mehrfache
age, which
Nachfrage
is
hin
why
weiter
he was not
bestätigte,
prosecuted.
bereits
A very
volljährig zu
different case
sein.
with Melissa Schumann, as her
Ihre
case shows
Forderung
no
aus diesem Grund,
discrepancies,
nicht weiter
but there is also
strafrechtlich
no tangible
verfolgt zu werden,
evidence. It took her
gehört zu
almost
das
15 years
Unverhältnismäßige.
after to report the
Ihr
incident to
Fall
the
weist
authorities
keine
in
Diskrepanzen auf,
2018, a
aber es gibt auch
circumstance that
keine
he is
Handfestsamkeit.
repeatedly accused of.
Knapp 15 Jahre soll es dauern, bis sie sich 2018 entschließt, den Vorfall bei den Ermittlungsbehörden anzuzeigen. Ein Umstand, der ihr immer wieder vorgeworfen wird.
And that detective interviewed witnesses, interviewed me many times. Nick didn't get an interview at all, declined. I know that Nick didn't have to speak to give his side because he has the right to remain silent, but because of the statute of limitations, there was nothing that they could do. It's just past the statute. Oh well, sorry it happened to you. Get over it.
Der Staatsanwalt konnte also nichts machen, was so viel heißt wie, der Fall ist verjährt, schau selber, wie du zurechtkommst.
Sorry it happened to you. Get over it.
Laut
According to
Psychologin Dr.
psychologist Dr.
Brandolini gibt es
Brandolini,
häufig
it
Fälle,
often
dass
happens that
Missbrauchsopfer
victims of
sich erst
abuse
nach
take a
langer
long
Zeit
time
bei der
to report
Polizei
it to the
melden.
police.
Ja, das ist
There's many reasons why this can happen. One being a lot of women don't realize what happened to them was assault or rape for a long time. They don't want to be known as victims. And there's a huge amount of conflict and shame, and the first thought is often, it should be clear to me.
Hier wird dies bei den
Shannon's case is
Vorwürfen von
already out of
Shannon.
date when
Auch
she
ihr Fall
reported it
ist bereits
18 years
verjährt,
later. The
als sie ihn
38-year-old
erst 18
autistic
Jahre
woman
später
is
zur
then
Anzeige
subjected to
bringt.
massive attacks
Die
on
heute
social media.
38-jährige
To this
Autistin
day,
gilt
she is
anschließend
accused of
als
lying because
Straftaten
she
auf
changed
sozialen
her
Medien
statements
ins
several
Gesetz.
times.
Bis heute wird sie als Lügnerin bezichtigt, weil sie ihre Aussage mehrmals änderte.
I didn't start, having flashbacks of any of this stuff until May of 2007 when I started seeing my therapist.
Versteckt die Flashbacks. Wenn jemand behauptet, dass ich lüge, weil ich später meine Aussage geändert habe,
People that feel they lied, like, oh, they lied, they changed their story, where it was nothing like that.
Ein ganz
A
normaler
completely
Vorgang,
normal
wie
process,
uns auch
as the
die Psychologin
psychologist also
bestätigt.
confirmed to us,
Zudem
Shay's
könnte auch
autism could
Shannons
also play a
Autismus eine
role.
Rolle gespielt haben.
The structures in your brain that help with memory are when you're in a trauma or a flight or fight response. It's very normal for a trauma response for that
Dieses
memory
völlig
piece to
normale
not
System
always be
aus, dass ein
consistent.
Trauma nicht ad hoc an alles erinnert.
The
Vorwürfe gegen Nick
psychologist
Carter der
cannot
Wahrheit
judge whether the
entsprechen,
allegations
kann die
against Nick
Psychologin
Carter are true,
urteilen.
but she can see a
Dennoch
clear,
lässt sich für
reoccurring
sie ein
pattern,
klares,
especially in the case of
interpretatives
young
Muster
Hollywood
erkennen.
stars who often
Frauen
paid
bei
for their
Hollywood
early
Künstlers,
childhood
die ihre
careers
frühe
with
Kindheit
later
verloren,
missteps.
oft mit späteren Fehltritten bezahlt haben.
With like boy bands, they're a fine tuned machine to appeal to these young girls, right? If such a boy then meets young female fans with his pronounced sexual personality, then he may still lack the necessary intellectual maturity to avert what is right and what is wrong. Like, that may explain some things, but it certainly doesn't excuse the wrong behavior.
Entschuldigt es ein falsches Verhalten? Sicherlich nicht.
Alle drei
All three
mutmaßlichen
alleged
Opfer
victims
haben die
reported the
Vorfälle
incidents,
angezeigt,
but no
aber
cases
kein
ended up
Fall
in
landet
court.
vor Gericht.
The investigations
Auch
are
der
also
Anklage
subject
der
to
Figur
statutes of
Swanson und
limitations,
der
and if the
außergerichtliche
statement
Prozess
goes
steht,
against
die Hände
testimony,
gebunden.
hands are tied.
Was wirklich
The only
passiert ist,
people who know what
wissen nur die
happened are the
Frauen
woman
und
and Nick
Nick
Carter
Carter selbst.
himself. Tony's is a company that Nick Carter was affiliated with up until the allegations came out in November of 2022. They released this statement shortly after. As a family entertainment company, Tony's does not tolerate harm to children in any capacity. We are aware of the allegations against Nick Carter. While we do not yet have all of the facts, we have determined it's best to suspend our partnership and remove all content created in collaboration with him from our website, social media channels, and app. Nick Carter's sister Bobby BJ Carter posted this Facebook status, allegedly. Yo, Ashley Reed, how dare you say anything about my brother? You were chasing my brother Nick around, and I was chasing you for chasing him because you were trying to grab on him because you were trying to grab onto somebody famous, and I was onto you, and I put a stop to you, and I'll put a stop to you again. Back off, bitch, because I got the receipts on you. I'm done. I'm done playing this game, and then leave my brother alone because you and I both know that that is not true. Get at me, okay? Because I know who you are, you disgusting bitch. So fuck man.